Hi, Hayden here, and this is going to be a video about three base jumps that we can do in the Ghost Recon Wildlands game. This is a base jump that's the fastest base jump you can do in the game. I showed in another video, and this is from this base right here, which is called Inca Camina Charlie. And then up the top of the mountain, Nevado Yamiru, we can do jumps from, there's 4 different jumps that we can do there, and I'm going to show you 3 jumps that we can do from there. And now the reason why I like it fast tracking down here to Nuevo Mondo, the village down here, is because there's a helicopter that we can use. There's another helicopter over at the trekking campsite, but there's some enemies there and you have to go through battle and steal their helicopter. But here we can just drive the helicopter, take off, and fly up to the top of the mountain. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through that. Other than to take you to the helicopter and show you where it's at. So we can just jump in a vehicle here, whatever vehicle is available for us, could be a van, a truck, whatever it is, and take it and drive it over here to the helicopter. Now in all the videos and all the jumps that I'm about to do, I'm going to jump in this helicopter over here, and I'm going to fly up to the top of that mountain on the right. So let's go ahead and get out of the vehicle. And I'll show you. We're going to go to the top of that mountain and we're going to go to that ledge. So the next thing you're going to see after I jump in this helicopter, the next thing I'm going to cut back to is me at the top of that mountain. I'm not going to make you sit through a helicopter ride. Okay, so here we are up at the top of the mountain, and what I want to point out is, here's my character. I'm going in, of course. And then there's a helicopter that we just flew up in, and then down here is the Inca Camina Charlie base. And I made that other video about the fastest base jump you can do is to basically just fast travel to the Inca Camina Charlie base and just run right off of that cliff, and then you can parachute down into this area below. And right around there where the center circle is on the screen, there is a there's a rebel camp, and there's a helicopter there that you can use to fly around back up here, or you can just fast travel back over to the Inca Mondo village, if I got that name right. And you can, from there, the Inca Camina village or whatever, Mondo village, you can jump, you can just jump on a helicopter and fly back up here. Now there's 3 jumps that you can do off of here. The first one's the easiest one, is to just basically back up to the center here where that little picture of the house is, and then just jump right off and go right past the Inca Camina Charlie base. And the way I play around with this thing is I try to land right about in the center of the screen there. I try not to open my chute until I make it across this set of railroad tracks. I'll try to trace it. These are the railroad tracks. They kind of go around there. You'll see them a couple of times when you're doing these base jumps. The second jump that we do is off of this peak where Holt is standing. And I basically back up here and I jump off this direction. And instead of going to the left of this rock formation here where the bird's flying around, see the bird? Instead of going to the left, I go to the right and try to fly down this area here, also trying to pass the railroad tracks before I open my chute. Then there's a third jump that we can do, and the third jump is off of this point right here over by where Weaver's standing, or past where Weaver's standing, and we dive down into this ravine right here. And this is the hardest one I've done, because not only do I try to dive down into this, I was really just trying to go back over here to where the helicopter is so I can just fly right back up. But what I noticed is, as we get too far out of range here, is I could actually make that left-hand turn. It's a tight turn, but you can make that left-hand turn and just continue your free fall down into the valley below. And this one here, I've had to open my chute up before I get to the railroad tracks in order to make it over to that area right there where the helicopter is and the rebel folks are standing there. Over on the other side of the mountain, I'm going to come back and make another video about this, but this cliff right here allows us also to jump off in a couple different directions. There's an outcropping over here, right there. Not really an outcropping, it's a kind of a mountain. If you want to try to swing past that, you can. You can jump straight off and you can fly down this ravine. Now it's kind of hazy because it's got the dynamic weather here. Sometimes it's crystal clear, looks nice. But right in the center of the screen there is that large lake, and let's go to the map and see what we're looking at down there. It's actually pretty far. You have Choza Padre, and you have Laguna Colorada is the lake, or lagoon, I guess, and that's what we're looking at down there. That's kind of a hazy mess, all right? So that's the lake, and that's the city. Now also what I wanted to notice, I'm going to give you a little teaser here, is if you're familiar, here we got some more white haze. Right here in the center of the screen, let me come back a little bit, and right about there, there is a plane crash. There's a plane crash there, but I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong mountain. And I noticed it because I'm looking at the, I'm looking at this mountain peak right here. The helicopter's over here flying past. There's a little kind of diamond, triangular kind of peak. We can jump off of that as well. Right about here is where that plane crash is. This is going to be in the next video. It's not going to be in this one. It's going to be in another video. But what I'm going to do in that one here is I'm going to dive off of this one. Okay, as a matter of fact, I'll jump out of the helicopter for my first one, land on this peak, then I'll free fall and fly over with my parachute to this peak. And then from there, I will jump off, and you can't see the mountain in the distance, but there's a mountain ridge over here, and there's another jumping off place. And my point in those videos are going to be that you can go a pretty far distance just in doing base jumps. So let's go ahead and start this base jump. And the first one's going to be me jumping off towards our base. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and run and jump off the base and fly down the left side of our base right here. Back off a little bit. I'm going to fly to the left of that, and then I'm going to fly down to, let me get rid of the binoculars, and I'm going to fly down to this area down here of, what was that, La Cabana de Pesca? I don't know. And we're going to go down here towards where the rebels are, in this area here where my square is. That's where I'm trying to get to, all right? So with that, we'll holster our weapon, and the reason why we want to holster the weapon is because we can run a little bit faster if we holster it. And I want to run off this edge over here. Let me just take a little peek. There we go. That's our base down there. And I use a keyboard. I'm using a computer version of the game, so I hold Shift and W to run, and then I hit spacebar to jump, and I hit the S key right away. And we're going to fly right down past that. If I let go of the S key, my arms come in a little bit, and I don't go as far. So I want to fly far. I want to keep my arms outstretched. I'm holding the S key down the whole time. I don't know what it is on the video game commands. And I'm not going to make you wait for me to get to the top of the mountain after I land at the helicopter at our little rebel friends down here at the helicopter. I'm going to instantly be at the top of the mountain for the next jump. So I'm not going to punish you by making you wait for me while we get back up. We are going to make it to the helicopter before I have to pull my chute. That's good. It's very good. All right. I am very happy with this jump. That was my goal, was to make it down there to the helicopter. So let's go down. Now, I noticed one of the things I noticed with the parachute thing here, and we'll address that in some future videos, is about every second or so, if you push the S key, you can actually go a further distance. So I just want to, you can't hold it down all the time. You go a shorter distance, but if they're brakes, they're the speed brakes. So anyways, but you can go further by tapping the S key about every second or so. So let's get back up to the top of the mountain, and we'll see when we get there. All right, here we are at the top of the mountain again. There's the Inca Camina, what was it, Inca, let me see, look at my binoculars, it'll tell me the name. There we go. The Inca Camina Charlie base is there, and we're going to holster our weapons again because we want to jump down this ravine. And this is a good point to make about the weather, the dynamic weather that they have here. It's almost kind of getting to be a whiteout situation, and put on night vision. It's too dark for anything. It's too light to use the night vision to help us see anything. So we're just going to go ahead and run off on this edge here. We're going to run off and go down the, I'm sorry, I'm going down the wrong edge. I'm going off this point, and I'm going to go down the right side of our base below. So I'm going to come back here to this rock a little bit and make my jump and hit the S key to hold it. And then we're going to turn left to go down to the same ravine. There goes our base. And the same idea. I'm still trying to get to the helicopter without having to walk over to it. I try not to pull the chute at least until I get to the railroad tracks. And if you use the mini map over there in the bottom right hand corner, you can kind of see here. There's the railroad tracks just above my head. But the mini map will tell you when you've actually passed over them. And that's actually what I use to kind of make sure I get there. And we're kind of low, but there, we made it past the tracks. And pull. Whew! All right, I was nervous on that one. Oh, and I didn't make it. All right, so I didn't make it as far as I wanted to make it. We still have some downslope to go, and I probably could have made it if I had pulled the chute just a little earlier. So let's go back to the top of the mountain and try the next. Oh, by the way, I did try to land on the train. Don't try to land on the train, you die. All right. So I've been trying a bunch of stuff with these dives. Let's go ahead and see at the top of the mountain. Okay, this one here is the most dangerous jump, is to go down into this ravine. Okay, I'm going to use a drone so I don't kill myself falling off here. The idea is to fly off of this rock, go down this ravine. You're actually going to be into these rocks a little bit, and then make another left turn and go down the other ravine to get back to where our rebel friends are sitting there with supplies ready for us. So with that, let's go ahead and make this is the most difficult jump off this particular base. We've got our guns holstered, and we're going to go right over here to this portion of the rock and kind of aim right there for that point. And here we go. Spacebar and S. And again, you get down into the rocks a little bit here. And we're going to turn left and down into the big ravine. I was originally trying to get over to the village, but I realized that I could make this jump and probably get down here. Now I am going to have to pull my chute a little bit earlier to make it to the helicopter. And probably any time now, right after I get across this road. All right, so I'll pull the chute, and I'll just try to milk it out until I can get to the helicopter. Hopefully I can get there. Again, like I noticed, if you press the S key, you'll see my hands pulling down on the strings there, my little character's hands pulling down on the strings. Sometimes you might even catch a slight updraft, which is nice, because it really helps you get a pretty far distance. Now, in another video, this is going to be the last jump for this video, I spare you. And one of the upcoming videos I'm going to do is going to be a couple more videos I'm going to do. One of them is going to go off the rock on the other edge of the mountain, on the other side of the cliff at the top. There's another peak you can jump off of, and I'm going to jump off of that one. And I'm going to show you how we can travel a pretty far distance using base jumps. And that's going to be actually going to be probably a long video because you can go pretty far. And very good. So I'm going to make it to the helicopter, which night vision will work on this one. So we can go ahead and do a fast descent. But anyway, so I'll show you a couple other jumps that I found that were very interesting. And basically anywhere where you see that outcropping like that, if you see that big triangular outcropping, or it's really kind of massively obvious that something's there, then you can probably base jump off of it. I've jumped off of things in the game and been able to do a base jump, and was pretty surprised that I was able to get away with it. But we're going to make it down to the helicopter, so let's do a little turn. Let's do another turn. All right. And down we go. All right, very good. So that's going to be the end of this video. Those are the three difficult, there's an easy, a medium, and a difficult trip that we can make from the top of the mountain there. And that's our base camp, Charlie. All right. So with that, until we see you in the next video, take care and be well.